Good morning, friends. Today we'll see about the embedded system design process. So this is a very important topic in Unit 1 and it is a very basics of embedded system. How you start to build the embedded product. What are the considerations you have to take while developing a product? What are the cycles in the embedded system developing product? How to know embedded system, how to study which and which phase is how much important, everything comes under the embedded system design process. So, this is a major level of abstraction in the design process. What are the level of abstraction? Requirement, specification, architecture, component design, system integration. So these are the 5 important level of abstractions. In this, normally at the starting of the product, we go for top-down design. So what is top-down design? We don't have any product before in the market. We are only going to start the product or we have a fresh idea to start a product. So at that time, we go for top-down design. So we think of the product, we think of the requirement of that product. So wherever we can market it, what will be the customer need, everything. At that time, it is a top-down design process. Else, if some customer is coming and giving you some design requirements, so I want a product in such a manner, and this all will be the considerations I want in this and that. Everything, if he says and we start a product freshly, that is top-down design. So he gives the ideas, he gives the requirement. We start from the requirement. We go for the specification, architecture, component, system integration, and at last we develop into a final product and we give to the customer. So this is the top-down design. In case after receiving the model, he has get to the model to the market and he feels that he wants some changes in that model. Or after you finish the product, you feel that customer requirement, something is missing. So at that moment, we start from the bottom, which is missing, where to change. We start from the bottom to the top. We start from the system integration we start from system integration after a product is available to the one step and we go to the top up design. So this is the main design process, top down design and bottom up design. In these two, we have 5 level of abstraction. In the first starting, we move from requirement to the system integration. For refinement of the product, mostly we go from system integration to the requirement. Now, what are the goals of embedded system design? If you see the major goals of embedded system design, as I or you know, the cost plays a very important role. Any product you buy in a market, if the same features are there in 2 products, we prefer a cost which is low. And the product cost depends even on the manufacturers. For example, the mobile phone, you have the same features of Apple mobile phone in a Samsung mobile phone also. But the cost difference, if you see, Samsung will be little less and Apple will be a large. The cost difference is huge difference, but we prefer Apple due to its performance, either though cost is not a matter there. So that is what is the performance. Cost is for some customers, performance is for some customers, power consumption is for some customers. If you take the example of mobile, even we have only 3 constraints most of the case when you buy the mobile. Cost, performance, power consumption. We have another constraint, that is brand, size, all these things. But major thing, cost. So while you design a product, we aim against the customer, which customer we are going to target. Depending on that, we fix the performance and performance where the speed, deadline, everything lies. Next, the power consumption plays a very major role. So in this 5 levels of abstraction, we only do analyze, refine, verify whether our design is correct. with respect to the major goals. Three are the major goals: cost, performance, per consumption. After designing the product, we will refine, analyze, verify whether our product meets the goal of the customer. Whatever be the goal, whether he may ask for a low cost or a high cost, a high performance or high per consumption, a smaller size, whatever be, we have to check at the last whether our design has been met or not. We will see first about the requirement. So requirement is what customer asks from the designer, or when a company gets a project from a customer, what are the customer requirements he says, and we will, depending on that only, we will see whether we can take that product or we can design that product. The requirement may be sometimes acceptable, sometimes not acceptable also, depending on that company's capacity and the designer's capacity. So first, the basic function of embedded system. While you get the requirements, we must be very clear in getting the requirements, whether it is if you are an embedded designer, whether it's an embedded product, what are the basic functions? What are the basic functions of embedded system? Most of the embedded system are real-time system and user-friendly system. In that case, we have to get the input from the customers. So, basic function will be what will be the input, what will be the output, at what time must be the output given, whether real-time or offline, online, where the requirements must be saved, everything. Other than the requirements, we have informal description also from the customer. The customer may not have a clear idea about the product, but he may have something. So from our questions, we have to get the answer from him. For example, if he didn't say about the size, you have to ask about the size. If he didn't say about the power, you have to get about the power. You have to see the place of using, whether that product features can be used for that area. Everything should be analyzed in the requirement. So informal description also must be analyzed. Basic function of the system must be analyzed. In these two, requirement is classified into two things: functional requirement and non-functional requirements. Functional requirements, anyway, a design engineer will come with all the functional requirements. What is the input, what is the output, which time he has to get the input, what format he has to get the input, whether you are getting the input by the user or you are getting by an app, everything he will get. Other non-functional requirements will be the cost, power, size, everything. So both requirement getting from the customers is very important. So if you see functional requirements, you know all the technical aspects, processors, controllers or input, output, what type of programming he needs, what type of display, everything he will get in the functional requirements. Non-functional requirements, if you see, first will be the performance. So as I before told, performance and cost are related factors. If you want for a high performance system, the cost will be high. If you go for a low performance system, the cost will be also low. For example, in case of all military application, we cannot go and say their cost is a factor. In military applications, cost doesn't be a factor. Whatever be the cost of the system, when you design for a military, we will design for a high performance system. Same in the medical. When you design any medical equipments, we should not bother of the cost. We should bother about the performance since it is dealing with the human life. So wherever the embedded system deals with the human life, never mind of the cost. We should not compensate on the cost. Only on the performance must be very accurate. But there are some systems where the performance doesn't matter. It matters, but not to that extent. For example, a teller machine. For example, coffee teller machine. There also performance is there, but yet too we can compromise to the little bit with the cost and this coffee maker, all the electronic devices what the human use for day-to-day life. Everything can, in there the cost can be neutralized. So performance plays a major role. Next is the cost. As I told, the cost and performance are a very related matters. Yet in the cost, there are two costs which really affects the product price. One is the manufacturing cost, other is the non-recurring engineering cost. Manufacturing cost is about the components, raw materials, what you buy, how you integrate, and all these things comes under the manufacturing cost. Non-recurring engineering cost. So here comes the wages, traveling cost, advertising cost, and infrastructure cost, capital investment cost, everything comes under non-recurring engineering cost, NRE cost. So when you determine a product cost, we have to consider both the factors. One is the manufacturing cost, as is the non-recurring engineering cost. Altogether, it will affect on the product price. Next is the physical size. As I told, mobile is a very good example for an embedded system, how to you analyze the non-functional and functional requirements. In mobile, most of you now go to a slim mobile. The corner should be bended, slim. We should have a display at the corner. Lightweight mobile, but the high performance mobile. We know. Yet, if little the mobile weight increases, the performance is better. But we search for a mobile which has a good performance with lighter weight. So, weight and size are even the screen display matters for many members. Some for high performance, smaller size screens. Some go for high performance, high screens, larger display screens. So physical size and weight plays a very major role. Next is the power consumption. In many cases, in the power consumption, there are two types of power consumptions. One is battery, other one is using the direct supply. Wherever the embedded system product is stationary, we have kept the product in the same place. At that moment, we have to go for a power supply. Using 240 volt, we will have a converter and we'll go for a DC. But portable devices, in that portable devices, we go for a battery. So next, we have to see what type of application we are going to take the portable devices and how much power must be storage capacity of our battery. Everything must be analyzed depending on the application. So power consumption plays a very major role. Again, the requirement is a psychological task. We have to analyze the customer very properly before validating the requirement form. The psychological factors, we have to question the customers to get the information psychologically. So, the manager who takes the requirement form should be well qualified to analyze the person. Second one, physical, non-functional, and everything must be taken into account. So, this is a sample requirement form. Whatever we talk, that is taken in a form of written document. Always documentation plays a very vital role. So simply when a customer comes, we will get a requirement form with name, purpose, input, output, function, performance, cost, power and physical size. This is everything you have to get from the customer. In the customer, we have to say him name, exact name of the project with a crystal clear purpose of the mission. Next is with the purpose, he have to say, describe the system in detail in 1 or 2 lines. What the system is going to do. For example, if I am going to make a coffee maker, then I have to say it has to make coffee, tea or this and this and this. Only if I am going for a coffee maker, it had to make a cappuccino, black coffee, milk coffee, everything. So purpose, have to mention that. Next is with the input output. In the input output, there is a many type of input, many type of data to be taken and many type of data to be analyzed. So this is a very complex task. Input may be sometimes in analog form, digital form, maybe a mechanical input. Sometimes it may be a frequently occurring input. How performance must be, input devices is either button or a display or user friendly, how the output must be displayed, either the output must be saved. Everything you have to get in very detailed form about the input output. Next, about the function. The function and the performance are very interrelated factors. So we have to say with this input, this function must be done, must be described in detail. Next is the performance. Function and performance are very important. We have to display how detailedly the system have to perform. And with respect to cost, we have to say with respect to power, we have to say with respect to physical size and weight, everything in the requirement form. So next we will see about an example of all requirement form. We are going to see the embedded system design with an example. So example is we are taking a GPS system. GPS moving map. Whenever we talk about the GPS moving map, we used to see many films. Remember many films. Whenever many films, the thief will be tracked using a GPS tracker. They will fix a GPS tracker in your mobile or in a human body somewhere. They'll keep a tracker, and wherever he moves, he'll go. They will search him and they will get the input from him. Many films you have seen, for example, Dasavadaram. In there also, Kamal will be tracked when he goes with the first chip. That is with the wires, when he moves, he will be tracked. That was the first I remember first film where I was in-depthly watching about GPS tracker. He will very clearly it will be explained there. Wherever he goes, he will be tracked with the GPS tracker. So it will give the longitude, longitude with respect to the data stored. Nowadays, GPS moving map is used in many places. This is a major application of GPS. In our mobile, we have GPS. In our car, we have GPS. In our personal computers, mobile towers. Even nowadays, the two for child, wherever we are fixing they are fixing the GPS tracker in the child's device, child's cloth somewhere. Wherever the child goes, they can track where is the child. Even in the old age, where they go for walking or running, at that time the sons or daughters are fixing the GPS tracker to the old grandfathers or grandmothers so that if they are missed, we can find them. So there are many use of GPS trackers nowadays. So we will see about this as an example for embedded system design. So if you see, GPS tracker will give the current position with respect to latitude and longitude. Everyone are very familiar, right? Will like this, your location will be shown where you are moving, and like this. If you see the functionality, now we can explain the functionality also, right? What is the function? Highway driving, see how to find the where we are. Mostly we can see in the cars, we can find our cars, or mostly we travel now only by Google Map, right? There's a familiar word, Google Map, similarly. Next is user interface, and that is user interface display. What is the display size, and what are the buttons will be there? Everything will comes under input, output, performance. How much frequently your screen is updating. That is the performance. Cost, physical size, weight, power, everything plays a very major role. So if you see, this is the requirement form of a GPS tracker. GPS moving map will be the name. Consumer, will aim for a driving. So driving. Input is a power button, two control buttons. Output will be a LCD display. Functions will be using 5 receiver GPS system to select the resolution, display, latitude, longitude, and it has to be frequently updating in 0.02 seconds. So performance, cost, power, and size and weight. Everything will be got in a requirement form. After getting this, we have got even the functional and non-functional requirements in a same requirement form. Next, we will go for specification. So requirement, we have got all the ideas from the customer to us in a form of written document. After this, with this document, we have to analyze whether the requirement is feasible to be done as a product or not. And we have to, with the requirement form, we have to make a product analysis with the help with help of our engineers whether all the requirement are feasible, what will be the cost of what are the requirements we can to do. So we have to give a specification detail with respect to requirement to the customer that I will do these and give to you according to your requirement. So that is what is the specification. So specification is more precious and it serves as a contract between the customer and the architecture. With help of requirement, I will have a meeting with my engineers, everything, and I will make to a conclusion that I can do this product with this function, with this input, with this output, in this cost, and these are the things I will incorporate inside my product. Everything I'll make as a contract and get a sign from the customer. For this much time, I'll finish the product and give this product with the specification. You have to give me this. Everything will be over. That is what is very important with respect to specification. It is a contract between the customer and the architecture. Next one, specification should be understandable and very clear so that there is no, all your customer expectation and requirement are fulfilled. So main thing, specification is a document what we are giving is a contract. So it must be understand enough so that the customer is very satisfied with your expectation. You are satisfied with his expectation, customer is satisfied with your product. And designer has to run several different types of problem caused by uncleared specification. For example, if we are not very clear with the specification and some meeting they decide that we can do this product very easily. But in the design aspect only we found that with this cost we cannot complete this product. With this performance requirement that time designer will suffer a lot. So specification must be very clear so that designer will be very clear and his product will be refinement steps will be very less. And in global characteristics specification are wrong, then overall system is long. And the meeting the requirement will be inadequate. So specification plays a very important role in getting an embedded system design or getting an embedded product to be designed by an engineer. So in case of GPS tracking, what will be the specification given by the who designs a GPS tracker? Data received from the GPS station, map data, user interface, operation performance to satisfy the customer requirement, background analysis, everything he'll give in the very clearly in the specification. Next is the architecture. So architecture, so with help of specification, we will go for the architecture. So architecture is a plan for the overall structure of the system that will be able to design the component. So overall structure of the system means we have to give a block diagram. So anyway, everywhere architecture means there will be a diagram. You are well understood when you start building our house, first we'll take a plan of our house. Plan will be built. We'll have a overall structure of your flat. Everything will have a plan first. So overall structure will be given in a plan as a diagrammatic format. So as I told it's a block diagram and from the block diagram it will be very clear from where to where the data flows. So this is an example block diagram of GPS tracking system. If you see this block diagram, it gives overall thing. Here it is not separated, this is hardware, this is software, anything. It is a simple diagram of GPS system. What will be there in a GPS system? There will be a GPS receiver, search engine from the database available. So for example, if I am searching where is Ipandangal, then it will search and say there are Ipandangal places in 4-5 cities. Then I have to search, I want in Chennai. Then in Chennai, it will take and give where is Ipandangal. In Ipandangal, I have to search some which area is there. So that is what is the search engine. From the database alone it searches. Then this database may be a Google database or a already collected database. Then this will be analyzed. User interface, user can search with his hand everything and that will be displayed in the LCD display. So this block diagram is abstract and it does not give clear idea whether which is software and which is hardware, but it gives a picture how the system is going to work. So first is general block diagram is very important. After defining the general block diagram, we will next separate the part which are the software and which are hardware. Even while separating this part which is hardware and which is software, the major role is the cost. Even nowadays, you know that we buy an digital signal oscilloscope. The cost of the digital signal oscilloscope is around 35 to 40,000 rupees. But same oscilloscope can be as a software installed in a PC. If we connect the signal to the PC, we can see the waveform in the laptop. You are saving 40,000 rupees by using a software. The software may be a free open source or maybe a paid. Paid means almost around 1,000 rupees. What will be the difference when a DSO is working with the hardware and working with a laptop? The reliability. In hardware, I can relay the system. Here, again, you will have a time delay. It is software based, there may be not that accurate when compared to the hardware. So for accuracy performance, we have to go with the hardware. So, but for cost reduction, we will go with software. So depending upon the cost where we can split the system which is hardware and which is software. In case, even in here, if the database storage, if I am not able to afford a good memory space in my device due to the cost restriction, I can go for online Google data. In that case, I don't need a server inside my, I don't need a large memory inside my GPS tracker. It will take a data from the Google. But in case there is no internet connection, at that time the system will not work. So in that case, I need if I have a stored database in my tracker, it may help me. So whatever is there in the software and hardware, that depends on the cost of the system also. So depending on the cost, performance, functions, we will split the block diagram into two things, hardware block diagram and software block diagram. Now we will see the hardware block diagram. This is the hardware block diagram. Here I am going for a GPS receiver hardware device, input output panel hardware device, a processor that is a hardware device, a buffer hardware device, memory and display. All these things are hardware device. This cannot be replaced by a software, I think so. Now, these are the software portions. Software portions, I am taking the position. User can select the in user interface. For example, you selecting this button or your touch screen, everything. It is search from the database, display and display in the pixels. It will have a timer. Timer may be hardware timer or software timer, anything can be. So this is what is the same GPS system. It's the overall block diagram. This is the hardware block diagram. This is the software block diagram. After the block diagram is performed, the hardware design team will separately make all the hardware devices and software design team will work simultaneously on the software. Both hardware and software will, after finishing the hardware, software will not start working. Due to the time constraint, both the hardware engineers and software engineers will start working simultaneously if the block diagram is correctly separated, all the user interface data are given to them correctly. This architecture diagram must clearly say about the functional and non-functional requirements. Next thing, depending on the architecture is the cost, speed, power and all non-functional requirements. Even the size of your device is dependent on the architecture. If you want to reduce the size and weight, I have to go more on the software. If I want to compensate on the performance, then I have to come with the hardware. So both are related and everything will be decided, and very important thing is your architectural design. Next is the design of hardware software components. As I told, hardware block diagram is separately worked by the hardware team, software block diagram is worked by separately by the hardware team. After that, both will be integrated and made as a single product. In this integration only, we will find what are the issues, everything. So if you see here, while you are integrating the hardware in the software, first mostly we try with the FPGA board. After that, we will make into a product, that is into a controller. First the program written will be tried in a FPGA board, next it will be made as a product. After integration only we can check whether the specification is met or not. The power requirements can be analyzed only after the hardware software integration. Even in case of GPS tracker, power, even the components, pre-designed, standard, whether it's working with respect to standard, everything can be checked after hardware software integration. And here the topology database exists in the system, then it will, even in case of internet, the working will be very good. Next is system integration. After designing the hardware and software service separately, everything will be done and it will be tested. After integration, when you are going for testing, you will find the bug. Till that, we'll have a good, no bugs will be found. Software designer best will be designing his software, hardware will give you a best of his thing. After integration and working on it, we'll find the bugs. So if you have a good planning, good architecture, we'll have a reduced bugs. So this bug is more easy. Finding bug is more easy in system integration during running the test. After that, few bugs can be simply solved, few bugs will be uncovered. Since we will not test for all the test vectors, only we will be able to test only limited test vectors due to the time availability, marketing time, everything. So uncovered bugs will be only found by the customer side. And if most of the uncovered bugs only, we are getting the updates in the softwares at all. When the bugs are known only when the app is run by the customer, then at that time we will take the feedback from the customer and this is the bug, then we'll have a rectification factor by updation. If that is software bug, it is very easy to update, but hardware bug is very difficult to update. So testing phase, hardware software integration testing, whether architecture component, what are the bugs in all other previous four design will be shown only in the system integration, and depending on the bug, from the bottom we will go to the bottom to up approach to solve these bugs. From system integration to hardware software components, from there to architecture, from there to specification. If you are not able to design that, you again will go to the customer and ask, no, I can't do it, can you change it? So this is what is the top up design and bottom up design. System integration is very important and difficult task. And we had to design a system, a sufficient time must be given. If the sufficient time is not there, the testing phase will be limited. So, fixing the challenges and clearing the challenges, making the product to work, making the product to work in efficient and good performance depends on the careful design of the product by the design engineers. So this is the life cycle or the design cycle of the embedded system. We have seen the embedded system design cycle with an example of GPS tracking system. So listen, tracking system, we have seen the requirement, specification, architecture diagram, and what will be the bugs expected in a GPS tracking system. So in the next class, we will see about the modern trend controller with all these